The MedBricks webcast is focused on bringing distinguished Indians and others from diverse fields of science, medicine, technology, and philosophy to learn from each other and to create a new understandings and foster new ideas related to healthcare. Welcome to MedBricks webcast. It is a place to discuss about healthcare challenges and opportunities. Today, my guest is Dr. Howard Green, Harvard-educated, board-certified dermatologist from Florida. Dr. Green was one of the youngest physicians elected to American College of Physicians. Dr. Green published numerous scientific papers on ultraviolet radiation and skin cancer. He had several patents, and one of them is for gamified collective intelligence for online photo identification. It's a very hard one. I need to ask him what that is. He is very savvy in technology and created several apps in the field of dermatology. Pandemic exposed several weaknesses in healthcare systems around the world, including United States. One of them is interoperability. Interoperability means the ability of health information systems work together within and across organizational boundaries to advance healthcare delivery to individuals. It is a very important issue to Indian technology companies, particularly working in a healthcare space. Interoperability is not a technical issue. The forces behind are very complex, and we explore that with our guest today, with Dr. Howard Green. Curiosity was from the recent article he published in, he did in LinkedIn. That was interoperability. Actually, the forces behind them is much more complex than what people think. So he explained very eloquently that problems.
Interoperability. Interoperability is a concept that's never come to fruition. The actual mechanics of the engineering of interoperability, involve processes like HLA or API that are standardized to aggregate information, or even blockchain could be used for interoperability. It's the dream of every physician to be able to look at aggregated population health data quickly and to determine what the best preventative diagnostics and treatments and palliative treatments are. And at the same time, as in the case of pandemics, use all that aggregated population data to quickly do logistics. And interoperability, unfortunately, at least in America, has never come to fruition because there's so many forces operating against full-fledged interoperability. And these are all commercial forces, because the benefits to physicians and patients are the potential benefits are incredible. But unfortunately, in America, we have commercial interests who would be harmed by data sharing.
In your article, you mentioned that the 4 outcomes for healthcare systems is the preventive, medical, surgical, and palliative care. Could you just expand on that?
Every industry has products. Every industry has products. What does ExxonMobil? What is their product?
Oil.
Right. Oil products. What is Goodyear Tire? What do they make? Rubber products, correct? You take Nestle's candies, or they make candy. Well, in the industry of healthcare, there are 4 products produced. Okay, and these 4 products are outcomes, clinical outcomes at the bedside between the physician and their team and the patient. And there are only 4 products produced in healthcare, and that is preventative outcomes, preventing disease, medically diagnosing and treating diseases, surgically diagnosing and treating diseases, and palliating diseases, or making people comfortable at the end. Outside of this, there are no other products produced and manufactured in healthcare. In order to assess the value, and there's a lot of talk about value-based healthcare in America and around the world, you have to assess, like any other product, like McDonald's, what do they make? Hamburgers. The quality and cost of that hamburger. Well, what are the qualities and costs of your, in order to assess the value, and there's a lot of talk about value-based healthcare in America and around the world, you have to assess, like any other product, like McDonald's, what do they make? Hamburgers. the quality and cost of that hamburger. Well, what are the qualities and costs of your preventative outcomes, your medical outcomes, your surgical outcomes, and palliative outcomes? Those values, those costs, and the quality of those outcomes are not transparent in America or many other places around the world. Can that data be aggregated and made transparent to create a capitalistic system or a democratized system to increase access, decrease costs, and increase quality? Of course. But here again, you're running into problems. The data does not belong to the patients or the physicians who input it. It belongs to companies. Okay, so no one wants that data to be transparent. Epic, the largest, Epic and CERN don't want to release the data. They can sell it to companies. If you look at DataVant, D-A-T-A-V-A-N-T, they have a wonderful infographic on the healthcare data bourse, how your healthcare data, how my healthcare data is bought and sold in America. It's a great infographic. Let's go to DataVant, and you'll see that there's billions and billions of dollars being made off this data. So as much as we would like to have a system which demonstrates, which transparently reveals the value or the outcomes of the costs of the healthcare so that we can go to the best doctor, improve the underperformance, and so on and so forth, this can't happen in America because the revelation of data and costs would be deleterious to a bunch of industries. Great for the patients and the physicians, but we come last.
I like that your idea of productizing the healthcare delivery system. You put into the 4 classifications. I loved it, actually, that part. And then everything has to be fall into the medical, preventive, and surgical and hospice care. That he did that. That's very, putting all the productizing the delivery system is it's very useful for a lot of.
Well, if you take it backwards from that, those are the products. The variables which contribute to the products are in every chart. There's 200 to 300 variables in almost every chart. They can all be extracted either mechanically or through Turks, through people, through sweat, and that's how you can assess the value of the healthcare, the quality of the healthcare, the cost of the healthcare.
What kind of a laws the policymakers and the future governments can pass that
are happening? The data should belong to the patients and perhaps to the physicians, number one. Number two is there has to be transparency of the data, because only through transparency can you get, excuse me for a second. Only through transparency can you get true capitalistic competition to increase outcomes, improve outcomes, and decrease costs. So we'll never have improved clinical outcomes, prevention, medical, surgical, and palliative, unless we can have transparent revelation of costs and outcomes. So you need law. In America, we have another factor that's inhibiting. It's called medical malpractice. Medical malpractice attorneys don't want this data in order to get this bad data revealed so that you can improve. So you want to change the malpractice laws. You want to change the data laws so that the data belongs to the patient and the physician. You want to make sure that there's interoperability. I can't talk to the doctor in the office next door through my HR. We still use faxes and texts, and physicians still use that because it's the most efficient form of communication. HISP addresses to communicate with distal EHRs and disparate systems aren't published in direct.
Dr. Green, he gave a very comprehensive review of the forces behind the healthcare industrial complex. The interoperability is not just a technical issue, but it is tangled with the political and commercial interests. The interoperability problem is not just some technocrats or bureaucrats issue, it is the center of the patient's well-being itself. Thank you for watching. This is Ramana Namaraju. You can find Dr. Howard Green and his articles on his LinkedIn page.